Mars is your man in your chart. This goes for either and all genders. Mars is your masculinity. It's your manifestation, your manifestation. Understanding a lot of the times when we're dealing with Mars and we're looking for an external man, we need to cultivate that internal man, as we all have it in the word human, man, or woman. So, Mars in your chart is masculine energy. And understanding that its need to exert output is one of the key elements to manifestation that we get very caught up and confused in. And when we understand how to output properly according to our internal man, we will also discover and attract and reflect an external knight in shining armor, either towards us or of ourselves. So, Mars in your chart is how you win, right? But one of the real things that I'm really trying to get at here is that Mars is the true manifester. Mars in your chart is how we experience separation so that we can carve out identity and individuality. And so, with Mars in your chart, you becoming the opposition naturally makes opposition towards you. And that is essential to magnetism. When you think about magnets, you need to have a positive and negative charge in order to attract. So you need to understand that Mars is the strength, the power to endure a negative charge so that your magnetism is potent, it's pure. And Mars can often lose its potency, right? It can lose its competence. It could lose its purity. And fire truly is a pure energy, it's purifying. So, Mars in your chart is where someone will go to war with you. This is because that negative energy is producing a frequency of opposition, and it's essential for manifestation. My theories are that Mars is producing negative and positive energy. And you are the positive energy towards whatever negative oppositional force is in your situation. When you think about manifestation, if something is not working, then you are the positive charge. So, Mars, in essential, we think that masculinity is positive, but I see Mars as negative and positive. It cultivates this charge for you to choose, and so that is the key to the win, is to recognize that you are the charge that is creating the magnetism, whether you are negative or positive. Mars helps us to have our differences, and that can create a negative charge, right? And then the positive energy is how we respond to the negative charge that we created, the differences that we created. So, thus, you have to look at where you are losing, right? And so there are certain cycles that your Mars will go through where it will be really triggered. So we'll go through those parts now through your through Mars, through the houses, right, where you feel like you are losing. And so thus you discover how to win by being the positive charge, by being the winner. So let's begin. Where Mars is in your chart, if you have Mars in the ninth house or in Sagittarius. Now we're looking at Mars as Mars being your man in these formulas. And this is your knight in shining armor. This is your black knight. And your man, Mars in Sagittarius, is very knowledgeable. This is somebody who is more than reigning king. He's the important, element to the kingdom because of his origins, knowledge, and wisdom. So this is an energy that is seeking it externally. And so sometimes we get lost, right? And have these sense of losing. Someone could be at war with you over the culture that you are the most reigning in and have the most knowledge about. And these are some of the triggers that can happen with Mars. So, when dealing with Mars, we also are dealing with our anger and our impulses. And with Mars being in this placement, it does have a lot of fire, right? So, the anger can be intense, it can be overpowering, especially probably to the aspects around your Mars that those things may occur. People are going to war with you over your beliefs. There can be a lot of ignorance and bias. Circumstances that trigger you make you feel inadequate about your philosophies, experiences, or wisdom. I mean, rarely because this placement is pretty strong, right? But that could be at least the opposition is that you're inadequate to the culture, but it's not true, and this is actually your arena to win. In the space of losing, it could be being absorbed, right, by something way more important to the culture at the time or just something that you have lost. And so this is the losing energy may feel like, you want it, but you can't find it. And so you're making your move by understanding the elements of that energy that wants to take activity here. You want to compete with yourself with how are you expanding and sharing your knowledge? Are people able to follow your teachings? Are you standing by what you teach? How explorative have you been? Have you been a better example to your students? Are you truly living life as an adventurer? How could you beat out yourself the next time than the last time? And what would it look like to be better than you were last time? This energy in the sexy profile, which Mars does bring, brings that sex element. You can add in Venus, to which is your fashion, and play with Venusian things about your fashion. But utilizing instead of Venus your Mars element. So this is a lot of fire. This is more yellows, more oranges, and this also has to do with culture. So how you express your culture is widely expressed in the fashion. If there's cloth or anything connected to heritage that represents culture, then this could be a way to ignite your Mars if you're working with Mars. So ultimately, Mars in the ninth house, working with your inner manifestation, is winning by changing your beliefs, or more than just changing, but adapting them. So it's not like you're letting all of them go, but you're preserving the ones that really are more timeless. But you're also adapting to the new forms of how the culture is thinking. And that is also going to help you keep winning with Mars in the ninth house or in Sagittarius. Okay, so if you have Mars in the 10th house or in Capricorn, this energy is your knight in shining armor. It is Mars, the Black Knight, and its archetype is connected to wanting a legacy, wanting something to be remembered, as it's considered like the top of the chart. And manifesting with this is looking like you're a competitor in this arena of legacy. Okay, and so you often may face the oppositional force of something that is competing with you, right? To sharpen this energy, this masculine energy. So, with this placement, it could be a war over reputation, which would easily taint the legacy, right? A war over, like, what do you call, like, when you take someone's fame down? Defamation, I believe the word is. So, this energy is connected to how you are seen through reputation, and there can be an oppositional force that could challenge that in some way. Here, someone may go to war with you over your reputation repair. Uh, Things can trigger you to make you feel inadequate about your social status, fame, trophies, industry position, if they matter at all, but it's not true. This is actually your arena to win. And it's really connected to the overall idea of Mars in 10th house or Capricorn, which is the importance of legacy for humanity and how things are revered over time so that we always preserve, history, basically. So here, this could be a heavy or a light-hearted frequency. Honestly, it depends on the other aspects to your Mars, because I've seen outcomes where it's very laughable that someone would have the better title over you, but that is the oppositional force that could be seen here. And this could be, or something connected to they're challenging you in your title, that someone could be better than whatever that title might be. And this is something where you're dealing with people who have entitlement, and that is the key, and really positioning yourself to honor the past, honor your story and how it has come to be with this placement. So the sexy profile for this placement, Mars in Capricorn, or the 10th house, is connected to utilizing the Venus fashion blueprint, adding more of the elements of Mars in your fashion, right? So basically you're dressing like a Capricorn, and this idea is a lot of fun with manifesting and working with Mars, where you might work with more tailored suits. You might give yourself more angles, more corset like materials, things that kind of create shape, things that broaden your shoulders. Um, and the colors are really connected to like black, grays. Uh, these energies are really, these elements are really fun for adding, and it gives more structure to your fashion, and this could be a lot of fun. So even if you're interested in more like wilder colors, but you have Mars in Capricorn or the 10th house, you might just have a wild color, but it's a blazer, so it's more tailored and it's more fit form, and it could be the element of your Mars that you're working with there. And the fitness profile for this placement. So, with this placement being an earth element, all the earth element fit profiles are basically walking, hiking. Hiking could be really great for this placement, right? Because you're like elevating and getting up something, which is a lot to do with the achievements that need to happen here. And that can really put your body into the fitness, fitness form, shape of climbing, right? But also anything that has to do with muscle toning, like bar workouts or strengthening, and bone density. That's why I put bar routine, because bar routines like calisthenics, I think that's how you say it, or anything that has to do with utilizing your own body weight is really great on bone density, which is the important element connected to Capricorn, your bones, for Capricorn or the 10th house, okay? So, yeah, with this placement, right, your goals, your arena is building that empire, making that empire stand, wholesomely, organically, and you are winning by basically initiating new laws and new rules. That initiation comes from the cardinal aspect, right? And then, of course, the elements of Capricorn or the 10th house, your position as the boss, the CEO of the business, of your reputation, right? Your authority specifically initiates new laws and new rules. And you want to work a lot. You want to be careful a lot with punishment. Mars in the 10th house can have a lot of punishment that comes with this as a shadow energy. So you want to have more grace there, and and not be so harsh on yourself, not be so harsh on others, especially with the new authority that you're creating for yourself. So this is Mars in the 10th house or Mars in Capricorn. Okay, so we are now at Mars in the 11th house or Mars in Aquarius. Okay, so this placement, your knight in shining armor, your Mars is your man profile, is someone who has the finesse of getting people to align with their vision. So this is a visionary. This is someone who could also be missionary in a lot of ways. It could tend on that, but most especially has a vision and is trying to bring that vision to life, and usually is around their friends. So Mars in the 11th or Aquarius, right, can have a lot of oppositional issues with friends, right, amongst friends, or towards them and their friends, okay? And those things that are showing up for this placement is natural to this because it sharpens you to really associate with the right ones. And that is really the key for this placement. So when a Mars, or whenever you're dealing with a level of like, competence lacking, right? With Mars in Aquarius, the feeling of loss or losing is that you're not able to visualize what it is that you are having for yourself, or what it is that your associate is having. So the opposition can be somebody that does not have the same vision as you, or you cannot see theirs, which can create a friction here. So this placement really comes with a hidden power, in a way that Mars's thinking and angle of itself, its understanding of itself, which is easy to assess here, right, is pretty quick. And then it has the ability to initiate a new thought form, a new process, uh, with the vision, or with the person who has the vision, so that they can align or associate. So, the key with this placement is that you don't have to get too intense, you don't have to be controlling. It actually is just about aligning. This is a placement that utilizes its activities to go to a lot of events. This was one of the easier formulas to figure out. And its fitness is really connected to climbing as well, and its energy is also connected to doing it together. So, where Capricorn is climbing, Aquarius has more of the group effect. And this placement is also really good with like group classes, of course, like go out and being around other people in different interests and forms of fitness that you like. You can be in the back of the room, the front of the room, it doesn't matter. It's just more that you're there, being able to be around different types of people and network, connect, and align with different types of people. And this becomes your winning formula. On the ideas of the sexy formula, where we, work with Mars towards your fashion, we can utilize dressing like an Aquarius, which is the Venus element, right? So dressing like an Aquarius is connected to a very like cool blue palette, and it's very quirky. It allows you to find elements that mix and match and don't go together. It also has like a wet hair salamander look that you can also find, or like a rock star archetypal look that people can get into. This is the more edgier expression. So if this is far from what you're doing or what you're used to, you can add those elements, and this is you working with your Mars, right? And so with those elements together, you're able to win, right, over the war, over your influence, like how well you're influential, who are your friends, and how socially adept are they, basically. And where are they, right? That really matters. And I mean, this is a really fun placement. I think it also can be one of the hottest placements, when they really get it, because this energy is kind of like a dark horse energy. You don't really see it coming, but it is definitely an eccentric, unexpected type of winning energy when you play around with it. And because of its 11th house energy connected to parties, like it could be a fun one to explore. So and that is the Mars in Aquarius, or Mars in the 11th house placement. Okay, so for the final placement out of all 12, we have now Mars in Pisces, or in the 12th house. Now, this placement is really interesting. You could see it as like a poet, or you could see it like a very gentle energy, a gentle healer, but you could also see it as like a real dynamic, like old grandfather, but like real godlike energy that is kind of like intense, like a shark-like energy. So you do have the two fishes, you have the dynamic duality that can come here. For sure, okay. So this placement, in understanding its wants, the Mars and Pisces, or the 12th house, wants hospitality. And so when we put it into the formula of Mars is your man, or your manifestation, right? Mars and Pisces, hospitality. This is a doctor. This is like, somebody who has the tools to heal, right? And they do it so assertively. It's an energy that doesn't have to be that archetype, but it's connected to those nuances, let's just say. So the energy here is wanting to play in the arena of being like the best healer, the best mystic, and that's how it expresses its archetype through the doctor, because the doctor has power and has knowledge, has tools. Is the one in charge, right? It has those energies. So Mars plays well with Mars and Pisces as that archetype. So we're going to go with that archetype, right, for the chart that I'm going to be making here. But Mars here in Pisces, or in the 12th house, can be at war with that position. If you use that archetype, it could be at war with that position, and can sometimes submit to something like a nurse or a co-partner, right? And it doesn't mean that you're better than another person. It has nothing to do with that, even though Mars is competitive. It's just that you're not identifying, you're only conceptualizing, projecting through that other person. And so it just always, you can go at it for a little bit, but then it always kind of loses its competence, because it's kind of exhausting doing that. And this placement has a lot to do with your rest. It's like the opposite of what you would think Mars is, but it's a lot of this energy is about resting. So someone can actually go to war with you over your absence and hiatus. That's what could happen here. And the trigger could be that people just make you feel inadequate about your activity, your presence, about the things that you're not doing, because you're not there, clearly, right? So it's this energy of just not being there. And so, like, the idea of a doctor, this is why the doctor is a good archetype. The idea of the doctor really makes sense, because you can see why everyone in the room still has tools, they'll still have capability, but if you're not there, like, it's just, the thing is not in order. It doesn't have masculinity, it doesn't have order, which is what Mars in Pisces, or the 12th house, is seeking to explore here. So this is one of the placements, usually, because it's not a fire house, it's a water energy in the 12th, or Pisces, where loss can be common, can be something you're dealing with, can be something that you're more into, right? So in order to heal this energy, you're healing with that inner man, that inner doctor archetype of yourself, right? And this could be with going to get a really good connection to a good doctor of some sort, or starting to, put together the areas in your life that you do see that are healed, because you could be the one to exhibit the most grace towards yourself to do that, okay? So ultimately, someone is living a better dream life than you, but um, you're so gone in another dream or distracted fantasy that you're not seeing that. And vitality and real life is not as much of your reality that Mars can grasp on. So that is why that doctor energy, the health, becomes essential here. And this is also very big in the 6th house, but I feel it's the most essential here for the 12th house, and they're both on the same axis, which is why I mentioned that. So in the profile for, we call it your sexy profile, where you work with Mars, so your fashion and fitness, you would be dressing like a Mars and Pisces, which are adding elements of, like sheer and mystifying kind of looks. This energy works with like very blues and deep purples, like water, ocean, like elements. So things are very flowy. It's not as like harsh or like stiff like you would find in Capricorn. So those are the elements that you can utilize more for Mars in this placement. And then the fitness energy is one of the fun ones. It's dancing, utilizing the feet. Any type of dancing would work really well here because you could do that forever in this placement. And it does have more cardio based in it than others, which are more strength training, but you can do things like bar classes or, light body weight types of things, but you don't want to be too harsh with this energy because this is a more gentle energy that Mars is in, with it being in Pisces or the 12th house. So you don't want to push yourself too far. Okay. So that are all of the placements. And then if you guys would like the worksheets, you can see the downloads down below, and I will see you in the next video.